All right, week 5. Review last week's topic with 3D cameras. So in our action platformer, we're going to need a 3D camera. Up until this point, we've kind of been satisfied with putting the camera in the hierarchy, and that's not really great. We want to develop something that has a little bit of elasticity to it for the object that we're tracking. And while it's true that probably the best 3D camera that was ever written is Mario 64, in terms of they're the first people who got it right, and when we study 3D cameras, we always go back to that. In terms of what works and what doesn't work, we actually invented a controller to support playability. We can get a lot of mileage out of just a few of the features from that camera. In our game, we have to make a decision in terms of the hero that we're tracking. As a first pass, what's the most important thing in the camera system? In terms of
always be able to see your character.
We're going to keep the player on screen. We're going to stay behind the player, behind their shoulder, I guess. We're always going to look forward. One way we can do that is with a function we learned last term. Do you remember what it was called? For the people who were here last week?
Hysteresis.
Boom. Hysteresis. You can do it with hysteresis, you can do it with lerp. Oh, we need a function to smoothly move our camera. Right? Lerp is what? P of t is equal to what? PA plus PB minus PA t. Right? There is a function built in Unity that gives us lerp. It lets us lerp between 2 points or 2 vectors or 2 whatevers.
Plus or times?
Where? Here? That's times.
The other one.
That's plus.
Okay.
Why? It goes from A to B, right? So if you have PA and you have PB and you want to get from A to B over a certain amount of time, this is a parametric function. It's the simplest parametric function other than straight line, which is maybe simpler. This is the simplest meaningful parametric function. Gets from here to here from 0 to 1. How do you know? Because if when P is 0, you get PA plus whatever times 0, and you get PA. So at 0, you're at your starting point. Similarly, P of 1 is PA plus PB minus PA. Those cross, and you're at your ending point. Right? Similar, so through induction, we know any value of t between 0 and 1 gets you somewhere between there and there. And that's really great if you know what A and B are. So there are some algorithms where that's important. If you know where you started and you know where you want to get to, and you want to fire and forget, and you know how much time you want it to take, you give it enough speed, it's going to get there in the amount of time you require. But that's not always, you don't always have the benefit of that luxury. Sometimes you don't know where you are because you've been blending stuff or doing some stuff with physics or who knows what, right? And that's where hysteresis comes into play. And the formula is what? There you go. Plus equals KH times destination minus current.
That's right.
Right? Plus equals. Not equals. So you're always adding a percentage of the difference of where you're at to where you want to go. And so you get a nice quickly moving, quickly decelerating, or slowly decelerating as you get closer to the point. You never actually get where you want to go. Every time step, you're always going a multiple of the distance remaining. That's how you get that nice velocity curve. It looks good. So here's a quick way you can do 3D camera using hysteresis. On our hero, we said we always want to seek, here's our rules, 1, 2, and 3. We always want to seek to a point behind the player, we always want to look forward and want to do it in a nice smooth way. So if this is our hero and this is his facing, we're going to say we want the camera to always be here, or always try to get here, and always to try to look in generally the same direction the player is facing. If we can blend two of those smooth functions together all the time, we're going to have something that's cool behind the player camera. All right. So what's an easy way to parameterize this? A point behind the thing you're tracking, or a point behind the hero.
Child.
Just a child object, exactly. So we're going to say create sphere. Make it a child. I'm going to say cam lock 1. I'm going to shrink it down. And we're going to say this camera locator is behind the player, maybe off to the side a little bit of Gears of War. Shoulder cam. That's cool. And we're going to say on our camera, we need a hysteresis function. There it is. So on our camera, something like that. Public properties we need for hysteresis. We need a KH. How fast we move. We need something to track the thing indicate the track object that we're trying to seek towards. So that'll be this. This will be the camera locator, actually. And in hysteresis update, we're going to say if track object not null.
Can't read the screen.
Would you like me to make it bigger? There you go. If track object's not null, we're going to want to move towards it. So we're going to say this dot transform dot position plus equals. And it's just our formula, KH times destination. What's the destination thing? Where we're trying to get to? Track object. Transform dot position minus current, which is this dot transform dot position. That's it, one line of code. How far does that get us? Gets us nowhere unless we actually set a KH. I'm going to say 0.4. And our track object will be cam locator 1. Boom. What do you notice?
It's moving with him.
It's moving with him. Because this animation has like some serious
What I actually did, I think I created,
rotation of the pelvis.
I created a script for him
Mm-hmm.
where it's I think it puts him on the axis and you can attach what item you want it to follow. So you can attach the player to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then as he walks, it just walks and it rotates to.
Okay, that's perfect. I want to make sure that this is on video. So I'm going to grab one more animation. So we're going to log into our favorite Mixamo. Just get a nice low variance idle. Something like that. That I can dig. So with skin, no, I'm going to say without skin. I just want the animation, so your projects don't end up being, gigabytes in size. So we'll show that in the folder. Import idle 4. That's the first thing we do. Go to humanoid. And we'll call this idle. Stationary idle, it's a looping animation, so we'll loop the pose as well. And we'll say apply. And then we go to the animator on our hero. He has no animator?
Oh, there it is. Here we go. Let's change that out. A little bit better. On my hero, I've got this player movement script that gets horizontal and vertical axes and does a simple translate and rotate according to the input. So I think this is not bad. So for walking, it's not bad. We lose him, so maybe our KH needs to be tighter. There we go. Maybe it could be tighter still, but what's the problem when we rotate? We're not looking at them. All right. So we could do that a few different ways. How do we guarantee that we're always looking the same direction the player is looking in a smooth way? That's right. So we've got this locator for where we want to go to. Let's try and apply the same principle. Add another one for what we want to look at. So it's another sphere. We'll say this is the look at. We'll shrink it down. I'm going to set it to be pretty close to his inside of him, but it doesn't have to be, right? So say that's our lookout point. And we can say well, if we want to force just to look at, we can just look at it. Uh-oh, what doesn't compile? I can't look at a transform? There you go. Boink. So we look, we turn. Is it working? What's going on with our camera?
You haven't assigned the lookout out there.
Oh, it's no. There we go. I like the fact that there's some elasticity to the tracking, although it is still too exaggerated. We need to tighten that more. But the look at is super tight. It's like almost hard coded. How could you make that a little more elastic?
Maybe you say you can, if the camera doesn't move like he does, but only when he rotates,
So how do we do that in math? Because right now we're doing transform.lookat, we're hard lookating a locator in the hierarchy of the character. So no matter how fast he's rotating or slow, we're always going to be looking at that point. If we had an idle animation that had that rotated shoulders back in again, our camera would start to look like that again. And we probably don't want that.
Slurp? That's what it's called?
Maybe. We need to do something. We need to do something other than transform.lookat.
You didn't use hysteresis for.
Exactly. We could hysteresis our lookat to that point. In the same way that we hysteresis our camera position to the camera locator.
All right.
So I'm going to leave that as an exercise for you to do because you may need it for the midterm. To do. Okay. Questions about that before we do new topic?
What's the benefit of hysteresis over using the,
You may not know where PA is.
or what?
You may not know where your original point is. I got you.
Does it matter?
It does matter, especially if you need to lurk from somewhere in the middle of a lurk. In a predefined amount of time. If you're in the middle of a discrete transition from one state to another, and then at some random point in time you want to transition, say, somewhere else because PV moved, you'd have to renormalize your velocity, right? In order to get to PV at the same amount of time. And when you did that, you would have an instantaneous increase in velocity. You wouldn't be able to smoothly accelerate or decelerate so that you can still get to PV in the same amount of time. So then you end up having to break your problem down into like a pre-accelerate, a move, and a final, and you end up being inundated with all these extra states. When you do hysteresis, you don't actually care because you're building that in to the formula. This is linear, this is not. Because it's plus equals, it's 1 over exponential. So it's order 2, so you let the formula do that work.
That's a good question. Other questions?
Can I see your code?
Sure. That's just our standard hysteresis code. I'll take a quick break.